world is slowly dying, environmental hazards creep into our lives silent and unseen. Pollution and destruction of ecosystems threaten our very own existence. Can we afford to wait, or we will act before it's too late?
Hello everyone, my name is Kenneth Badon, and tonight I'm going to talk about the major health hazards we face. So these hazards come from the different sources such as biological, chemical, natural, cultural, and lifestyle choices. I will also discuss how we can assess and manage these risks to protect our health. Risk assessment helps us estimate the harm, and risks management helps us take steps to reduce or prevent it, whether it's making healthier lifestyle choices, following safety rules, or staying prepared for natural disasters. For example, to manage the risks of lung cancer, people can quit smoking or avoid secondhand smoke. And governments might also enforce regulations to limit harmful chemicals in the products. So here we have five major types of hazards. First is the biological hazards. So these come from living organisms like bacteria, viruses, and fungi. For instance, diseases like COVID-19 and malaria are caused by biological hazards. Second is the chemical hazards. So this includes harmful chemicals in the air, water, food, or human-made products. For example, toxic pesticides or pollutants can cause chemical hazards. And third, natural hazards. Natural hazards are disasters like earthquakes, floods, and storms. They can cause injuries, death, and damage to property. Next is the cultural hazards. This involves risks from unsafe work, environment, poverty, or violence. For example, working in a factory without proper safety gear is a cultural hazard. And fifth is the lifestyle choices. Lifestyle choices like smoking, eating unhealthy food, or engaging in unsafe practices can increase risks. For example, not wearing a seatbelt while driving is a lifestyle choice that can lead to harm. So in conclusion, we face many hazards in our lives, but by understanding and managing these risks, we can protect ourselves. Risk assessment helps us estimate the harm, and risks management helps us take steps to reduce or prevent it. We all have a role to play. Let's take action today to create a safer and healthier future. Thank you.
At this moment, I will be continuing to report about what types of chemical hazards do we face. Okay, there is growing concern about chemicals in environment that can cause cancers and birth defects and disrupt the human immune nervous and endocrine system. So some of chemicals can cause cancer. Of course, makakos siya og cancer of course kung dili ka magamping sa imong lawas, and then that because of chemical nga like imuhong gina-take, or that's something like makadaot sa imuha nga wala ka nag-care, and then some chemicals can cause cancer, mutations, and birth defects. A toxic chemical is an element or compound that can cause temporary or permanent harm or death of humans. Ang toxic chemical pinakakuyaw nga sakit nga maoy mukaad sa imong lawas, it because man siya magpermanente o magpermanente siya sa imong lawas because of that chemical, 'di ba? And then carcinogens are chemicals, some types of radiations and certain viruses that can cause or promote cancer. A disease in which malignant cells multiply uncontrollably and create tumors that can damage the body and often lead to premature death. Of course, sa imong sa imong lawas, di ba? Like, maka-open siya og tumors, like, maka-damage siya sa imong lawas, nga na, di ba? And then next is, the next one is the second major type of toxic agent. Mani siyang mutagens include chemicals or forms or reactions that cause or increase the frequency of mutations or changes in the DNA molecules found in cells. Most mutation cause no harm. Of course, di ba? Ingana. And then the teratogens, a third type of toxic agents, are chemical that harm or cause birth defects in the fetus or embryo. Ethyl alcohol is anti-teratogens, of course, sa imuhong fetus, like sa imuhong mga gagmay na cells. Diba? May siya, chemicals that harm. And also, some chemicals can affect important body system. Since the 1970s, research on worldwide life and laboratory animals, along with some studies of human seditions. Of course, like nag-study sila about sa mga human, animals, kung unsay mga possibility about chemicals. Some chemicals in the environment can disrupt important body system, including the immune and nervous system. The next is the estrogen mimic bisphenol. A BPE is a service as virginated certain plastic like mga plastic bottle, mga canned goods, mga sleeping cups, mga pacifier, as well as some reusable water bottles. Of course, like mga mineral. Nga na natong ginagamit like sa mga pag-refill og tubig, di ba? Yan na. BPE. BPE is also used to make some dental sealant as well as the plastic resin that line nearly all food and like mga canned goods, yan na, di ba? Mga dilata. And then the critical thinking should plastic that contains BPE or BPE banned from use in children product. Explain how you do. Yes, of course, in 2013, the FDA indicated that the chemicals triclosans and triclocarbon, widely used in antibacterial soaps and some deodorant, and could be hormone disruptor and could be contributing the material resistance to antibiotics. And then, what can you do sa imong buhaton, 'di ba? First, it's certain organic produce and meat. The second one, avoid and proceed pre-packaged and canned foods, mga dilata, 'di ba? And use glass and ceramic cookware, store food and drinks in glass containers, and use only natural cleaning and personal care products. Also, use natural fabric shower curtains and not vinyl, 'di ba? Nga na. And then avoid artificial air, fresher, fabric softener, and dryer sheet, like mga electricity, di ba, gamit nato sa to as labihan na sa mga nag-boarding house lang, di ba, mo dyan na ginagamit. And use only glass baby bottles and BPA free pa phthalate and free sieving cups, spacer, and toys. I hope you will learn some of this topic, and thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Gina Batal. I am the third reporter and my topic is what types of chemical hazard do we face. So, there is growing concern about chemicals in the environment that can cause cancers and birth defects and disrupt the human immune, nervous, and endocrine system. Some chemicals can cause cancers, mutations, and birth defects. Toxic chemicals is an element or compound that can cause temporary or permanent harm or death to humans. So the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency or EPA has listed arsenic, lead, mercury, vinyl chloride or used to make PVC plastics and polychlorinated biphenyls as the top 5 toxic substances in terms of human and environmental health. There are three major types of potentially toxic agents. So first is carcinogens. Carcinogens are chemicals, some types of radiation, and certain viruses that can cause or promote cancers. So example of carcinogens are arsenic, gamma radiation, ultraviolet or UV radiation, and certain chemicals in tobacco smoke. The second major type of toxic agents is mutagens. Includes chemicals or forms of radiation that can cause or increase the frequency of mutations or changes in the DNA molecules found in cells. So most mutations cause no harm, but some can lead to cancers and other disorders. So harmful mutations occurring in reproductive cells can be passed on to offspring and to future generation. The last major type of toxic agents is teratogens. So teratogens are chemicals that harm or cause birth defects in a fetus or embryo. So ethyl alcohol is teratogen. So women who drink during pregnancy increase the risk of having babies with low birth weight and a number of physical, developmental, behavioral, and mental problems. Some chemicals can affect important body systems. Neurotoxins. Neurotoxins can harm the human nervous system or brain, spinal cord, and peripheral nerves. So, effects of neurotoxins can include behavioral changes, learning disabilities, paralysis, and death. So, example of neurotoxins are arsenic, lead, and certain pesticides. Metal mercury is an especially dangerous neurotoxin because it is persists in the environment and, like DDT, can be biologically magnified in food chains and food webs. So the symptoms of mercury poisoning in adults include poor balance and coordination, muscle weakness, memory problems, insomnia, hearing loss, loss of hair, and loss of peripheral vision. The EPA estimates that about 1 of every 12 women of childbearing age in the US has enough mercury in her blood to harm a developing fetus.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jissa Jamandron, and this evening I will discuss about the ways to evaluate chemical hazards. So scientists, they use various methods to assess chemical toxicity, and that includes animal testing, poisoning case reports, or epidemiological studies. And despite of its limitation, toxicology, it studies the harmful effects of chemicals on living organisms, and toxicity measures a substance's potential to cause harm, and its fundamental principle states that any chemical, be it natural or synthetic, it can be harmful in large quantities. So the key question here is what exposure level does harm occur? So we have 7 factors to determine the harmful health effects of chemicals. First is dose and age. So the amount of harmful chemicals ingested, inhaled, or absorbed affects toxicity. Age also matters as toxic chemicals impact fetuses, infants, and children more severely than adults. And research links womb exposure to autism, asthma, and learning disorders. Second is genetic makeup and detoxification. So genetic sensitivity determines individual responses to toxins, with some people experiencing multiple chemical sensitivity. effective detoxification systems that includes liver, lungs, and kidneys also impact toxicity, and genetic makeup influences susceptibility. Third is solubility and persistence. So, toxin solubility affects environmental spread and bodily absorption. Water-soluble toxins contaminate water supplies, while while oil-soluble toxins accumulate in body tissues. Persistent chemicals like DDT and PCBs resist breakdown. Fourth is the psychological accumulation and magnification. Toxic chemicals biomagnify in food chains, harming animals higher up, and then fat-soluble toxins like DDT and methylmercury accumulate in bodies. Biological processes intensify toxicity. Fifth is chemical response. So exposure to chemical causes health damage or what we call response. Acute effects are immediate, while chronic effects are long-lasting. Natural and synthetic chemicals vary in toxicity. Sixth is toxicity assessment. So scientists test chemicals on lab animals to determine lethal doses, and mathematical models estimate human effects based on animal testing, and chemical toxicity varies widely. Lastly is risk evaluation. Risk analysis, they identifies hazards, evaluate risk, and manages risk reduction. Also, they have this comparative risk analysis that ranks risks and the so-called lifestyle choices that describes the impact controllable risks. So we have this so-called toxicity testing, and the most common method for assessing toxicity involves exposing lab animals to controlled doses of a substance. And we have mice and rats. They are widely used due to their similarities to human biology and rapid reproduction. But these tests, they only last 2 to 5 years, and it involves hundreds to thousands of animals. It costs up to $2 million per substance, and it can cause animal suffering or death. So we have now these animal welfare groups now wherein they advocate for limiting or banning animal testing, ensuring humane treatment. That is why scientists estimate toxicity by analyzing the effects of varying doses on test animals. Also, according to studies, the biggest health rates stem from poverty, the gender, and lifestyle choices. Poverty causes the most deaths due to malnutrition, increased disease susceptibility, and waterborne diseases. We have 4 guidelines to evaluate and reproduce risk. The first one is compare risks. It assesses risk relative to others. Second one is set risk tolerance. This is acceptable risk levels. And third is evaluate actual risk. You need to know how often to verify information. You need to evaluate the actual risks. The fourth one is you need to focus on controllable lifestyle choices. Prioritize decisions impacting health, such as smoking and drinking habits, diet and exercise, safe sex practices, and driving safety. You need to ask yourself, can I control this risk and act accordingly? Always remember that by becoming informed, by thinking critically about the risks and making careful choices, we can reduce the major risks that we are facing. So always keep in your mind to create a safer and healthier you by choosing wisely and living wisely.
Your morning eyes, I could stare